Okay, so I'm going to do a quick video tutorial on the bouncing ball animation, the first part. And just to let you guys know, there are step-by-step instructions listed on Schoology, plus the videos too, so whatever works best for you, that's what you'll follow along to. But let's go ahead and get started. First things first, what I always tell everybody is that it's super important that you go and you find references, especially for exercises like the bouncing ball. We're going to end up doing a pendulum swing. There's somebody that's already probably done it and has the number of frames done, the positioning, the timing's basically done for you to just reference. So I provide one that you can use, but again, if you put bouncing ball reference, you can see so many of these options here. So we have to do something like this, so you can't do one that just goes up and down because this is actually a bit more complicated than what we're doing. But this one even gives me like the location in the path and then the frames that we're putting this in. Now this is a 24 FPS animation. I want you guys to start with a 12 FPS animation because it's just less drawing to do. But my reference is here for me to reference and go back to. But we're going to hit new file. In the written instructions, I asked that you select standard, but in previous years, some kids have done HD too. So I'll let you guys decide. I'm going to click standard for now. And the only important thing that I ask everybody to do is that you change the frame rate from 30 to 12. So you don't want to do 30 different drawings in 1 second when you can do 12, and it gives you a similar, it still gives you fluid motion. Okay. The platform type stays the same, ActionScript 3.0, and then you're just going to hit create. Right, so you should have something that looks like this. Now the first thing I want you to do immediately is do a file, save as, and name this bouncing ball. Remember, don't put any spaces, so none of this. If you need to show that it's two different words, just capitalize the second word over here. You can use underscore or dashes like this, but other than that, computers don't like spaces. The location should be your USB right here, and then the file format stays as FLA because we're still animating, so you're going to hit save. Alright, so if it crashes, we are hopefully going to get a recovery file. Another important thing to mention is that when you're animating, you should have a ton of layers. If I ever open your FLA working file and I see that you only have one layer, I already know that you messed up, and you probably already know you messed up. So when in doubt, just create a layer. For this assignment, I want you to rename layer 1 to floor, and to do that, you just double click on the layer 1 name, and it should let you start typing. So I'm going to hit floor and then enter. Animate also does not like that if you use spacing in their layer naming convention, so you might get a little error if you entered a spacing between letters, and just hit OK because it's just going to add an underscore for you. But alright, we have floor down here, and I want to actually expand this. No, we'll leave it like that for now. Okay. If you're having a hard time seeing these frames, up on the top right-hand corner of your timeline panel, you have this little slider right here. So if you click and drag this circle towards the little mountain icon, it makes your frames a lot bigger. So now you can see this is frame 6, frame 7. And if you take it to the left, it makes them super, super tiny. I personally hate this view, but when you have longer animations, you might have to resize your timeline, but a good medium that allows you to see things is okay. All right, so I ask you to just create a line going down the bottom here. That's going to be our floor, so we know where the ball is going to bounce off of, or so it doesn't, what am I trying to say? So we have a reference of where the ball is going to stop and then bounce back up, okay? So you can use the brush tool if you would like. Just make sure that the fill is black, but I don't have a drawing tablet, so I'm going to use the line tool. So the stroke is this black color right here, and the stroke size is set to 2, but I want you guys to do 5. So this is just how thick the line is going to be. You can grab the slider here and move it to 5, or you can do what I did and just click once and enter the number. All right, so I want the floor to be somewhere over here, and then it's going to go across like that. Okay, so right now all we have is a line going across the stage, but it doesn't really extend further than that, so it's going to be there for less than a millisecond because it's only there for 1 frame. To change that, you just come to frame 12 underneath the 1 second mark right here, and then you could hit F5 on your keyboard, the function key, F5, or you can do right click, insert frame. F5 is a keyboard shortcut to insert a frame, and this just means this drawing is now going to be on our timeline for 12 frames, so 1 second. Now that that's done and we're not going to do anything else to this layer, best practice is to always lock layers you won't be using. So lock this. And I'm sorry if you guys hear my dog kind of pouting in the background. But okay, so lock it. This little icon up on the top left-hand side on your timeline, this is your new layer icon, so you're going to go ahead and click on that. And this next layer is going to be called our path. For any animation, it's good practice to have like a sketch layer or a path layer, because one of your principles of animation is called arcs, and that's that every motion follows a circular path, or arcs, if you will. So let's go ahead and let's start at frame 1 here. So this is your playhead, by the way, this blue little bar that you can scrub back and forth with. You want to make sure that that's positioned where you're actually going to make drawings or changes, because if not, you're going to make a drawing on the wrong frame and then cry later. But I'm on frame 1. I'm going to grab my brush tool. I want this fill for your path to be something pretty bright, because we're going to reference this, and then at the end we're going to end up deleting it, but it's easier to see this. All right, grab your tablets and you're going to draw basically this line right here that our bouncing ball is going to follow. So as you see, the arcs or the bounces start to get smaller as we progress. If you do not like your path the first time, Command and then Z as in zebra to undo, and then you can redo it again, but I'm actually quite happy with that one. Right. Once you have a path that you're happy with, you want to come back to your timeline and click on frame 1, or your keyframe right here. You want to go to your properties panel and you're looking for color effects. If you don't see it right off the bat, it's probably because you didn't click on the frame, but you can always move over and look through these tabs right here to pull up menus. We're under the frame tab, color effects, and you want to select alpha. This is your opacity or your transparency here. So I want to take this down to about 40%, 36%. Kind of like a ghosted version. And then once that is done, you want to go ahead and hit the lock button. And just for good measure, Command S to save, or File Save, so it saves our progress. Right, we are also not going to be using this. Okay, I already locked it. Let's go ahead and create a new layer. And this one's actually going to be the bouncing ball. Now, a couple things to mention. You have the selection tool up here. This one just allows you to move things, click on them and move them. It doesn't allow you to resize anything, which is crazy because most Adobe programs do. Animate has another tool called the Free Transform tool. And this one's on your, both of these are on your task, but this one's the tool that allows you to resize, rotate objects, and then change their pivot points. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I do not have a drawing tablet, but you guys will, and it's up to you whether you want to use your brush tool to make the ball or if you want to use a shape tool. I'm going to use the oval tool. All that I ask is that the fill is set to none, which is this little icon right here. It's a white square with a red line across it, means no color. And the stroke color is set to black. And the width, or the stroke size, I think I put 2. So I'm going to change this to 2. Stroke size 2. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and to make a perfect circle, you want to hold down the Shift key on your keyboard the entire time as you regular click, hold, and drag to make a circle. Perfect circle. There we go. So if you don't like the circle that you made, don't worry, just leave it and then come straight to your Free Transform tool here. Box select everything, make sure you get everything. And then if you hover over one of the corners, you should see this little symbol of 2 arrows, a diagonal 2 arrows, right, going left and right. And if you hold down the Shift key and regular click and hold to either size it down or size it up, that's how you resize objects here. But I think I'm pretty happy with, yeah. If it's doing that weird thing where I'm trying to size it down a bit, but it's like snapping to certain sizes that I don't want, come to your dock menu right here, and you want to turn these 2 options off, the snapping to, because I don't want it to snap into anything. All right, cool. So now that I've resized it, I'm going to my selection tool, box selecting. You have to grab from the outline, because remember there's no color inside the circle right now. We want to move this to the first position. If you want to start yours like starting all the way in frame here, that's fine. I like to start mine half off frame and half in frame. It just feels more realistic to me that way. But that's basically it. I'm going to stop this video here, and we're going to continue on actually placing and animating in the next one.